Everybody, welcome into the Worldwide Shopping Source. My name is Tim. Let's get underway as we continue the big Stuhrling weekend. Once again, we're seeing records pretty much being set across the board, not the least of which, obviously, is the Emperor. For those of you who caught that Sunday morning, another huge record being set there. In fact, that actually holds two records, not only from the Sunday morning, but also the fact that, to my knowledge, there's been no watch on television that has ever actually sold out simply based on showing it over the previous few weeks and during just one pre-sale event, having it go, and at least one example of that watch did. So, point being, we're fortunate. We have actually been able to replenish it out of the New York office. I'm not going to say in the largest quantities, but at least we have them, and we'll be showing those very, very shortly. And if you've not seen the Emperor, it's a very elegant, wonderful watch. I think it's arguably the most elegant watch that Stuhrling to date has ever made. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we are welcoming this entire weekend Larry Magen, president of Stuhrling. He'll be joining us here live momentarily. Let's talk about some upcoming stuff. More accurately, that we are continuing with the Stuhrling event through Monday and even Tuesday. Now, these are Eastern times. Please bear that in mind. On Monday, you can catch a Stuhrling event at 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, every Monday evening, as many of you know, we do our anchored Monday night watch show for a couple hours. It'll kick off at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central. And we'll be wrapping things up with Karen Connolly, and she'll do the show along with Larry at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central, Tuesday morning. And she is a terrific host, by the way. If you've not seen her do a show, you're missing out. So make sure you check that out mornings whenever possible. I also want to mention, in fact, I was referring just a few moments ago, and this, I think, would bear some explanation. How do things sell out with them actually not being on television? One of the primary ways they do it is with the Watch newsletter. One of the things I think is so great about our newsletters, we don't just talk about products whenever possible. We'll also talk about the industry at large. In fact, our upcoming newsletter, we're actually going to be discussing some of the upgrades and updates from, for example, Swiss Ed of Aljoux. We're also going to give you a synopsis of a recent roundtable that occurred with some of the most powerful women in watches. They're very insightful, so we'll be showing you some of these, along with kind of a preview of Basel, among other things. So if you'd like to be a part of this newsletter, which does, as has happened, for example, with the Emperor, also allow you to purchase items sometimes a week or 2 weeks in advance. Here's how you do it. You just go to our website. And this newsletter, by the way, is absolutely free. And I'd love for you to participate. So go to the website, shoppingsource.com. And on the website of shoppingsource.com, there'll be a very obvious link for newsletters. So you click that, go over and sign up for one called Lines of Time. Exact same name as the television show. So you sign up for that, enter an email address, and that's really all you do. Now, when you sign up for newsletters here, we're not going to spam you. We don't give your information to other people. We don't send you things you didn't sign up for. So basically, your secret is safe. So go sign up for the newsletter. The next issue is realistically, I think, going to go out in about another 4 days or so. So please join us, and I hope you will. Okay, let's do this. Let's take a look here at a truncated, lovely preview. Now, as always, everything you're about to see is immediately available. It's not necessary for you to wait to have me expound further on any of the items. And this is going to be a chance, again, I just talk about purchasing in advance. This is one well, let's kind of put this in perspective. This watch will actually be out here next hour. That's officially. If you want to call in advance, you're going to be able to do so right now. This is 16096. So what is this? This is the Aviator Pro. What they've done is they've taken the Aviator, and for those of you not familiar with that, that's the one that has the wonderful and, dare I say, expensive Swiss movement. And it's a full-function chronograph, has the day window, it has the big date complication. Now, this has been out on a leather strap for a while, which, by the way, we now also, again, have in stock, and we are going to be showing you that right along with it. And you can decide which one or both or, what have you, works best for you. Now, if you want this, and I must tell you, this is a very large, heavy example. One of the things that probably struck me most when I first got to see this in person is how heavy both the watch and the bracelet actually are in this thing. So it's almost $1,500 list, $1,455. It's available now at $399. Now, I don't know how many of you caught our Sunday morning show. If you did, the rose gold, to the best of my knowledge, is sold out. You might want to call and ask if one or two bounced available. Obviously, you can acquire it. Otherwise, my suggestion would be to just send an email and put Aviator Rose or Aviator, just something like that in the title line. Send it to host@shoppingsource.com. That's HOSTS, host@shoppingsource.com. We are compiling a waiting list for that, and there's also a fair, and I cannot guarantee this. I wish I could. We are working, as we're talking to you right now, to get some of these for the Monday night show. Now, if in doubt, I would order one of the other two, because I cannot, and I want to emphasize this, I cannot guarantee the rose gold finished example. We will try, I can guarantee that much. The other two are, by the way, phenomenal. They're beautiful, and you'll see that. We'll illustrate these live in about an hour. You can reserve yours now. It's 16096 for that. And of course, we'll also have the one in leather available as well. Now, obviously, no Stuhrling event is going to be complete without some of the newer examples. Well, the Aviator Pro would be an example of such, as with this. Now, this is they're actually, by the way, bringing this out in a series. So you guys are already buying into what's going to amount to, I suppose, for lack of a better word, this really cool sort of a franchise-looking watches. This is the Star Bright. There's also going to be a Star Light coming out. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is this is first of series. If you want to get first of series, you only have one shot at it, and this is it. Now, this features genuine gemstones. I know it doesn't say that on the graphic, but I assure you it does. For example, if you order the red one, it's genuine garnets. If you order the purple one, it's genuine, amethyst, and so on and so forth. You can get it with or without gold layering. One of the most exotics, and I'll mention this briefly, is the green one. And the reason I like the green one is it is genuine Tsavorite that's been inset. Now, by the way, all of the gemstones are basically from the 12 o'clock to the 4 o'clock position, and they almost look like they're just scattered across the bezel. And it's a really cool look. Anyway, it's an $800 watch, currently available at $249 with the interest-free payment program. Check it out for $83. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that interest-free payment program as we get into the show. Suffice to say, you can order yours now, 16098. 16098 if you want to be well, quite literally, among the first in the world to wear that. All right, this is actually one of my personal faves. This is not a new watch. It's a relatively new watch for us, but I'm not going to say it's brand new. I will say it consistently sells out, and I will also tell you that while we do have it, we don't have necessarily very many of them. So let me explain very quickly what this is. This is a mechanical automatic, very cool guilloche design dial, by the way. And those of you who follow more of the high-end watches, and I'm talking really high-end watches, you know that one of the things that has become more in vogue of late is to take a moon phase and basically kind of create a moon phase inside out, where almost the mechanical and the wheel portion resides physically on the dial. Well, this takes this concept and it creates a very, very cool AM/PM indicator. So you've got that, you've got, what else? It's also a regulator. I mean, it is gorgeous, in a word. This is an absolutely phenomenal watch. And if you've been, by chance, waiting for this to come back, or perhaps you haven't seen it, I know we have millions of new viewers that perhaps did not even see the latest Stuhrling show because you couldn't. And this won't come as a surprise. I think the number one seller here is the one layered in rose gold. If you want to call right now, I can get you the rose gold layered example, or for that matter, the 316L steel, so it's whatever you want. So they're available. They are going to sell out. My suggestion, especially if you want the rose gold layering, would be to call now. It's 16054, and that's another one, by the way, where you can get the interest-free payments if you would like. All right, let's get the show officially underway, and let's welcome right over here. He is president of Stuhrling. Says, Larry, thank you for coming in. First of all, let's talk Sunday morning just for a second. You have, I think anyway, it's kind of a Herculean task, because every show, as you know, has been another record-setting event, and it's now become almost to the point where, okay, what are you going to do this time, kind of a thing. And you guys have delivered. That Emperor has just gone over the top.
Well, we're not done yet, Tim. We have some pieces coming in the next few months also that are going to just blow your eyes out. And it's been fabulous, and thank everybody at home for their great support. Congratulations to everybody who got the Emperor this morning, the Aviator Pro, the Star Bright, and the Odyssey, 4 brand new pieces that are making their debut this weekend. And it's just been great here for us at WSS, and we're very proud to be here.
Well, we're going to be talking, obviously, about the Emperor. As a matter of fact, we're going to be getting to the Emperor here in just the next few minutes. And if you haven't seen it yet, well, you can see it at a great distance here. But we'll get to it. All right, first things first, let's talk about the Atlantis. Now, this is one, to get underway, I've got to talk to producer Chris for a second. I need to know, we have all, but Safety Orange has got to be, how many? Okay. First of all, if you want the orange bezel with the charcoal dial, I want to be very clear in this. We are going to start with less than 20. That means, realistically, this is going to be the only time that you see the charcoal dial with the orange bezel. And there's not that many more of the orange dial with the black bezel. Now, I don't want to overly sound like I'm going to be pushing you into that particular piece, but I will, that being stated, tell you that they are, by far, the number one sellers. It's the number one choice, and they are, frankly, very, very cool. I think, personally, the reason that the charcoal dial is, of late at least, even eclipsing the safety orange dial, is because if you get the charcoal dial, you actually get the safety orange luminous material, which is very cool. And you're seeing that on some very high-end watches. For example, Javril and GV2 is using it, among other brands, and theirs, as a lot of you know, goes for huge amounts of money, usually 4 figures. So the Atlantis is delivering that option, among others. Now, the safety orange, of course, is very much a trend. It is all the rage in upscale sport watches. And if you watch this show, that's no news to you. But it is nonetheless a trend. I would also point out with these, if you want something more classic, definitely go with one of the silver dials. Go with the black. And I know there's always going to be 2 schools of thought. There's going to be the collector that wants something that's in vogue right now, and there's going to be those of you that say, okay, I'd rather not invest so much in that as something that's going to be a consistent performer for decades. Well, in that instance, I'd put you into a black dial or put you into one of the silver dials. So whether you're choosing one of the safety orange or one of the more classic, the bottom line is this, guys. It's over $600 list, and this is a sport watch that's on a very cool rubber strap that is a mechanical automatic. This is not a quartz example. From over $600, it's at $179, and we're going to offer this with interest-free payments. So that means you can pay this out over the next several months. It also means that WSS does not charge you any interest to do that. And let's take this as an example. Here, for basically $60, you're going to get a $600 watch sent to you, and it's only $8.99 to FedEx. And speaking of the whole shipping business, when you order with WSS, you do not have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever, to get the watch you ordered off a television. When you order from us, you're going to receive your watch basically in 2 to 3 working days. If you're ordering right now, realistically, most of you, unless for shipping purposes, call this Monday, most of you are going to receive your watch Wednesday, Thursday. No problem. And that's not a special event thing. That's a thing we do all day, every day of the year. And it's one of the reasons why more and more watch collectors and jewelry consumers, for that matter, gravitate to WSS on a daily basis because they realize that things are priced right the first time every time, and you no longer have to wait weeks when you can wait just a couple of days. Now, Larry, as we go to this, obviously this is not a new piece. We've had a considerable success with it, but I would imagine that you guys had to have known coming out of the gate, especially with the advent of safety orange, that this is pretty close to a home run, as you could guarantee without knowing for a certainty.
Well, you know, Tim, orange happens to be our corporate colors.
That's a good point, too. Now, but was that an influence at all with you guys? Did you want to do something like that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Tim. You know, orange is kind of a hot, trendy thing right now. It's the new yellow. You know how they always say in fashion that
safety orange is the new safety.
Brown is the new black, okay? Well, orange is the new yellow. And I happen to like this one right here that's on the screen, with the silver dial with the blued outline on the hands and the markers, because this piece, first of all, it's a real guy's piece. Look at that detail in the dial. Nice shot, guys. But real guy's kind of piece, the divers look, very heavy, chunky 316L stainless steel. But with that blue outline, it looks just great with jeans. Guys can wear this with jeans and a t-shirt, jeans and a polo shirt. You can, you know, wear it if you want to get a little bit dressy. But this is a real sport watch. And you know, we're getting heavily now into our whole dive series, our whole water sports collection. And here's the one that you were talking about just a little bit earlier, Tim, with the orange luminescence on the markers and hands. You know, the other ones all have the super luminova as well, but not the orange. This one has the orange screwed in case back. And, you know, sometimes we get so accustomed to seeing exhibition case backs with mechanicals that we may forget, if it doesn't have an exhibition case back, that it's a mechanical. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no battery in this watch whatsoever. This is, in fact, a mechanical self-winding movement in this watch. Look at the concentric circles on the outside. This is from our Atlantis series, and this actually is a very new piece. We only came out with it last month. I mean, this is not something.
It's been a huge hit for you guys, really, right out of the gate.
Right. This is not something that goes back like 3 years.
By the way, less than 10 if you want the charcoal dial.
So it is a very much of a brand new piece for us. It's only 1 month old. And we are going to be doing more in this case. In our water sports collection, we're going to be doing other water sports pieces too, but this is kind of the heavier version. And the one that you're now showing on the screen is another one that I just love because it's got the unidirectional ratcheting bezel, which has 96 teeth, by the way. And the brushed finish, it's got a black PVD coating on the crown as well as that bezel, but it's got like a brushed finish to that black PVD. And then the polished raised chapters on the bezel, the way they contrast with that kind of flat matte finish on the black, it's just so striking. It's just so classy. I just love it. And you see the pattern on the rubber.
I love this, by the way.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Looks like a tire tread pattern or something like that on that black rubber strap. But it's that same pattern that is actually continued through the dial and also etched into the case back as well. But the Atlantis, this is just a super value, a super bargain. You've got a beautiful stainless steel butterfly clasp with a safety lock that has the signature logo of Stuhrling on it. You've got the Cyclops over the date to magnify the date just a little bit there for you. Here's the black PVD coated crown and the orange dial with the black PVD coated bezel. You're just getting so much watch for your money here. And this is 100 meters water resistance, by the way. So it's got the screw down crown, screwed in case back as well. So, and this one you might notice the luminescence, instead of having that minty green, this is the white luminescence on this one.
That's a very good point to bring up because in the more classic versions you are going to see kind of that mint green.
Yes.
But for those of you who don't know, there's been advances in the luminescence which are now allowing certain other colors to show up. Case in point, the white, which you're going to see in a lot of upscale dress watches, for example.
Right.
And then the kind of a sort of a sherbet orange, not quite a safety orange, which I think is by the way, that is sold out now for those of you wondering.
Which one? This one?
The orange bezel, with
okay.
the charcoal, that's gone. And we've got a very, very few left now if you want the safety orange dial version, which does, and that's a very valid point. I'm glad you showed that or emphasized that. This is the white luminescence, not more of the historical mint green.
Yeah, and we use a treatment that's called Super Luminova, and it's a trademarked type of luminescence. Basically what it means is that when you charge it up with light, it gives you a real bright luminescence.
All right, I've got to put a last call in. This is we're going to be moving forward. This is 16085. The charcoal dial with the safety orange bezel is gone. I am now down to less than 20 remaining if you want the safety orange dial. That's the one with the white luminescence. Now, next up, we're going to be getting to the Emperor. And the Emperor, as I've already talked about, has set 2 records that I know of, and it's likely to probably better at least one of those before we're done with our Stuhrling event. Now, as we're setting this up, one of the things I probably should get into, and I kind of regret not doing it actually in the Sunday morning show, is the background on this, as I understand it, was 16 to 17 months.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, can you comment a little bit on that?
Sure.
Because I'm not sure that a lot of even watch collectors necessarily appreciate the extent of time that it takes to bring, especially a complicated watch like this, to the marketplace.
Absolutely. I saw the first computer, they're not hand drawings, they're computer generated renderings when we first have a concept for a watch. And I saw the first renderings approximately 16 months ago, which happens to coincide with when I first started with the company, for the Emperor. Now, we hadn't named it yet. And of course, by the way, those renderings, they're always nice to look at, but they never look as good as the final piece. I mean, once you always have the final piece, that blows away the rendering. But nevertheless, I first saw the first rendering of this about 16 months ago, and I had no idea that it was going to take this long to bring it to air. Being this weekend, it finally made it to air. Now, a typical turnaround time for us, or lead time you might say, might be 6 to 8 months from concept to production to on the air. Sometimes if it's long, it could be 10 or 12. This took exceptionally long, and for a lot of reasons. One was the open heart movement that's inside the case. We had encountered obstacles with that. We encountered obstacles with the engineering on that hinge for the bow over the crown at 12 o'clock is just, it just takes super precise engineering in order to make that thing swing the way it does. It's not as easy as it looks, believe me. And then there was also some obstacles that we had to overcome with the mother of pearl. That mother of pearl ring that you see on the dial, to cut it out and to see, you have a recessed dial that gives you a little bit of an opening to have that mother of pearl lay flat and flush with the dial.
Right.
And the backside of the mother of pearl is not flat, it's bumpy. Okay, so we definitely encountered some difficulties with that at the factory, and it was not easy to accomplish. You know, we couldn't produce these things like, you know, hundreds at a time. I mean, they're all hand assembled and everything else. So just everything combined with the movement and the engineering and the case and the mother of pearl, I mean, this one took a long time to bring to the air. So, you know, once you go through the renderings, then you go through technical drawings and technical specs and sourcing the goods and all that stuff. So, I mean, it just takes a long time.
Now, I'm going to walk you guys through not so much the technical aspect of this, well, I guess a little bit, but we'll also talk about the dimensions and that sort of thing. Now, the watch itself is a 41 millimeter, and as Mary is wearing this for you, one of the first things I'm going to point out is it's not just going to be oversized on women, it's going to be oversized on just about everybody. And I can also tell you, as somebody who has personally worn the watch for about a month or so, now this is going to be a watch that is consistently going to garner compliments and comments. I've been stopped on any number of occasions that are anywhere from working out to being in a fine restaurant to being in a mall and whatever. People want to know, where did you get the watch, how much? In fact, I was in within the last, I'd say 24 hours or so, I was actually in a very upscale watch dealer, completely irrelevant. Actually, I was just kind of strolling around before dinner and just spending time window shopping, and I walked into the watch dealer and we're looking at various things. And I got, I would say probably 3 or 4 of the employees, and this is a watch dealer, by the way, that carries the likes of Rolex, that carries the likes of very upscale brands, and this thing actually ended up getting passed around, and people are coming out from the back to take a look at it. It's a very, very exciting, very unique watch, and part of what I think is so cool about it is that nobody guesses how inexpensive it is. And here you are in a watch store that clearly has their act together, and they're all anticipating this to be a dramatically expensive watch.
Sure.
And it's a lot of, well, I didn't actually ruin the surprise for them. I just let them think I was wearing, you know, many thousands of dollars. It was kind of fun. And you don't have to tell them that you necessarily got, even $1,300, by the way, is a bargain in that store, just so you know.
Sure.
So, you know, I didn't go, well, you know, you can get it for $3.99. But it's a, it's one of these pieces that it just belies how little you spend for the watch. And I think that's one of the great definitions, in my view, of value. Does what you own, it could be a watch, you know, it could be a sandwich, I mean, whatever it is, like, does it meet or exceed the expectations of what you spent? And this watch absolutely does. And I think that's why we had such a massive response, as you well know, to the pre-sale event, and that's why we've seen such a massive response here over the course of the Stuhrling weekend, is that this watch is going to consistently deliver.
It wears like a $20,000, $30,000 piece on your wrist. It really does. It's certainly not for every day, although I know you've been wearing it every day.
You know, I do.
But to me, this is a very formal piece. I can see it with a tuxedo or a nice dress suit. I could see this at a wedding. I could see it at a special just a dinner ball. I could see it at a special business function. Wear this with a really nice suit, and you will get stares, compliments, comments, people wanting to see it. It is just very striking, and it catches people's eye, and they have to do a double take on it. And as you pointed out, Tim, everywhere you go, people are going to stop you and say, "Whoa, what is that?" You know, you don't see this kind of a timepiece every day. Hardly ever. I mean, look at the beautiful exhibition of the open heart display there. That's the balance wheel just beating back and forth, and it's got 21,600 vibrations per hour on this movement. Just, it really is magnificent. It's probably the most elegant timepiece I think Stuhrling Original has ever created in our history.
You know, that's interesting you have that kind of that review of it, because that's one of the ways that I reacted to it. I think this is arguably the most elegant watch to date Stuhrling has done. Now, yes, for those of you who have collected Stuhrling in the past, we can address the tourbillons. And I think that, okay, point taken. But let's also put this in price perspective. Tourbillons by Stuhrling have listed anywhere from $16,000 to $38,000. Now that's list. Street prices ranged anywhere from, so off the top of my head, but the lowest I've ever seen, which as a matter of fact has been here, and this is brand new in the box, is about $4,000, and then it has gone to $18,000. Again, Are they elegant? Yes, very. But we're also talking about a dramatic price difference, and none of those had a case that was, frankly, this elaborate, to be candid about it. This piece lists for $1,300. This is something you can own for under $400. Now, I told you I'd get into some of the specs, so let me do that for you guys, too. 41 millimeter case, so again, it'll be oversized. In fact, let me put this one on. It's going to be oversized in just about everybody. And it's about 12 millimeters thick. It has a custom-made leather strap, and that's because the lug area on this particular piece is also custom built. Open heart complication, and obviously you can see that on the dial. Each dial is guilloche designed. Furthermore, each dial, and that's whether or not you choose to get a lighter dial, which happens to be on the screen at the moment, or a darker dial, they will all have the outer track mother of pearl. They will also have the two different time zones, which obviously at your discretion you can choose to offset or not. I didn't happen to mess with it, but it's something you could certainly do. So there is a show-off factor and a practicality factor to this as well. It's very regal, it's very elegant, handset back, screwed in back, exhibition back, decorated movement. I think it's a 22 jewel, I want to say off the top of my head, I believe it is. And dual deployant clasp. Genuine cabochon, by the way, cabochon sapphire, is actually inset into the winding crown, and the winding crown on this model is actually set at the 12 rather than the more traditional 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock position. So this is going to be something, even if you've collected watches, and I happen to be in this camp, I've collected watches for a lot of years, and I will tell you at any price, and my watches range anywhere from frankly rather expensive to very inexpensive. I collect many watches on many different levels. Price aside, I did not have one even remotely resembling this in my collection. Now, as it stands right now, you can get this with or without rose gold layering. Now, most of you, I'm sure, this does not come as a surprise, rose gold layering is the bigger seller. Now, if anybody cares, one of my personal favorites, I like the lighter dial in the 316L white steel. I just think that one's very, very regal, and it just, that white glistening portion of it is incredible. But I got to tell you, the rose gold, in fact, at the moment, I can tell you that the rose gold with the white dial is the #1 seller. I'm not trying to talk you into this one. You should get the one that you want. If you want to get the exact one that I've literally test drove for a month, get the rose gold layered version with the black dial. And I can guarantee you're going to get a response to that because it's happened to me. But they're all magnificent. This is truly one, without exaggeration, that I can tell you right across the board, it delivers. It delivers big time. This is a very, very cool watch.
You know, Tim, as I'm watching it on the screen here, I mean, obviously this is just a spectacular timepiece for anybody out there to buy one for themselves, of course. But also, I think I could see this one not only as a gift item, but if anybody out there watching has their own business, for example, this is great for gifts to key employees or maybe to clients if you're a salesman or something like that. You keep some of these in the back of the car and you have some key clients and you give them this watch that cost you about $400. It looks like you're giving them a $10,000 watch. They don't know that you bought it on WSS for $400, but this is a great kind of either an employee incentive kind of item or a client entertainment gift item, that kind of thing. I mean, you can use it in so many ways. It's the kind of piece that you literally hand down from generation to generation, a gift for dad, you know, that kind of thing, or a gift for your brother or whatever, your husband, anything like that. I mean, this piece can serve so many different functions because you just don't see it every day, and we're so proud of the Emperor. You
know, that's a very valid point, too, when you talk about you don't see this every day. You will not see this really ever. I mean, now some of you, of course, are in fairly large communities, and a lot of people are watching WSS. So, yes, theoretically, it is certainly possible you might see a couple of them floating around. But by and large, you're going to be the only person in the boardroom wearing anything that is remotely like this. And I've got a relatively extensive watch collection, and I realize it's dwarfed by many of you in the audience, you know, collections of 200, 300, 400 watches. But I have a rather diversified watch collection that range anywhere from opulent to very inexpensive, dressy, sporty, the whole thing. I had nothing remotely like this, not even quasi-similar, sort of looks like. This is extremely unique. It's very, very special, and it is something, when you get this home, you're going to appreciate how little that you spent on it. Now, I realize that our time has expired on this, and we're going to go ahead and move on here. Let me recap the four, and they are, at this point, still available. However, again, I will emphasize, if you are interested in the rose gold layered examples, they are outselling the white 316L steel examples. Now, don't take that as necessarily an endorsement as much as information. If you're interested in either of those two, you really need to start calling right now. We've got a few more of, I should say, maybe perhaps a greater availability when it comes to the 316L steel examples. Here's a shot of one of the backs of the rose gold, by the way. Even the movement's treated with it, ruby jewels. It is very cool.
You know, we're talking about the rose gold versus the stainless steel versions, and you know, since we use dollar cost averaging, you know, you don't pay any more for the rose gold, and that certainly is true. But you know, the stainless steel executions, I think there's an advantage to that, and that is that this is such a dressy, formal timepiece. With the rose gold, it's in some ways it's a little more limiting. I think with the stainless steel, it's a
little bit more casual.
It's a little bit more multifunctional with the stainless steel rather than the rose gold, and you still have all the presentation of the dressiness.
And I think that's perhaps one of the reasons why I'm gravitating more and more to, I think, the lighter dial with the white 316L steel is that has the blue markers and hands. You can tie that more naturally into like a jeans or dress casual, and you can actually play visually. All right, now let's talk about some other new stuff. You guys have taken, and this is absolutely true about Stuhrling, because I've worked with you guys on and off for what, better part of 4 years, 5, coming up on 5. You guys have always taken the collector of women's watches very, very seriously, and you are actually now introducing series which are actually pretty much exclusive to women. This particular one, case in point.
You know, I love this piece. You're absolutely right, Tim. What we try to strive for is we try to, you know, bring the same technical achievement that we have for the men and maintain that achievement for the ladies, rather than just, you know, put a watch together that's just simply a fashion timepiece with a, you know, a quartz movement and put some crystals on it or something like that in some fancy colors.
But I'm glad you're broaching that point, because you can say this is my opinion, and you'd be right. I think that many watch companies for the longest time basically looked at the women collector of watches like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, just put some shiny stuff on.
And this watch right here, the Star Bright, is a perfect example. As you can see, first of all, it's a magnificent looking timepiece. It is gorgeous. Mary's showing you the execution that has the 23 karat yellow gold coating on the case. It has a champagne color dial, and it also has the white topaz gemstones in the bezel that are inset. There's also a Swarovski crystal inset in the crown as well. But what I'm saying here is, yes, it's a fabulous and beautiful and magnificent looking timepiece, but we could have shortcutted this piece by putting in even a Swiss quartz movement, which this has, that would have been literally half the price of the movement that we used in this watch. This watch has a very expensive Swiss quartz movement. It's all metal parts that contains 2 jewels, by the way. Very seldom do you see jewels in quartz movements. All metal parts, rare, very rare, which means it's completely repairable. Most quartz movements that have plastic parts, you know, you can throw them away, and if there's something wrong, they put another one in there.
Just drop another engine.
They drop another one in here. This movement is not inexpensive, and we certainly did not have to do that. So when you're buying this watch, ladies, you're getting, again, the technical achievement that we strive for the men. And I know there's a lot of watches out there on home shopping television that sell for $19 and $29 and $39 and those kinds of things that give you a nice look. But with Stuhrling Original, you're getting more than just a nice look. You're getting the respect for the art and tradition of the Swiss watchmaking legend, and you're getting all of the technical achievement that we strive for the men, we're maintaining for the ladies. You're getting a really technical timepiece. You know, how many times, Tim, have you seen some of the, you know, more, let's say, higher profile type of brands, without bringing up any names, that basically give you a quartz movement and it sells for $1,200 or $1,500. I mean, I could rattle off a few names right here, and they're beautiful, beautiful timepieces, but you say, my goodness, it's a 3-hand quartz movement, and they're selling it for, and there's no diamonds in the piece, and they're selling it for, you know, $1,500. And those are great companies, and a lot of it you're paying for advertising, but they are also giving you really nice engines in those pieces. That's what you have here with the Star Bright. Look at that Swarovski crystal that's faceted in the crown. Tim is showing you the blue execution, which has genuine sapphire and white topaz in the bezel. I love this piece here. It's so beautiful. You've got the stars for the markers going around. You've got the offset second-hand subdial there that has the pattern inside, and just a great, great timepiece. You've got that big swoop that looks like a crescent moon with stars filling up the night sky right there. And we just love this piece. And, you know, are planning on doing another one, but you know, that probably won't be out till summer or maybe even fourth quarter, and basically it would be the same thing without the gemstone. So here is the much grander version, the Star Bright, and a real bargain at $249 as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, before we move off of this, and I know this is going to take us a little bit over time here, but I want to go over exactly the different versions which are available.
Sure.
And I also want to talk about the gemstones that are included with each one. Now, on the screen currently is the blue one, and basically you're going to order this by dial color, or I should say just color the watch. So if you're going to order blue, you will get blue sapphires intersected with white topaz. Those are genuine blue sapphires, and obviously they are designed to complement the blue dial. Really beautiful folded fan texture, by the way, across no matter which dial. This one again happens to be the blue one. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're choosing the black example, you're going to get kind of a cross section of blacks, charcoals, and silvers throughout the piece. That one actually has black sapphires being inset, and it's arguable, I think, that the black one, I'm referring to the one second from the left in this particular shot, it's arguable that that one may actually be the most elegant, or certainly one of the most elegant, I think largely due to the charcoals and the combination of bright metals and brushed with the silvers. It is very cool, and I'll bet a lot of you don't have the black sapphires actually in a collection, so I'd obviously be referring to this one.
Well, black is the new black, Tim.
That's true. Good point to bring out. And this next piece, this is, I would have to say, probably the most exotic. Not because of the color. The color is actually very rich, like a kind of a forest green, I guess is how I describe it. Yeah. But it's a gemstone. This is a genuine Tsavorite gemstone. And I'm not going to say never, but I very, very rarely actually found Tsavorite used in a watch. Now I've seen green crystals and so on, but this is the actual deal, the exotic Tsavorite garnet, which is kind of neat. This one is amethyst, very, very rich purple throughout, as you can see, and obviously the amethyst complements it perfectly. And then down on the end, that's actually not a bright like a fire engine red, it's more of a crimson red, and that's accented with the genuine garnets. And I also like, by the way, I have to say, in the course of the design, how it almost looks like the gemstones are just kind of cast around between the 12 and the 4, seemingly randomly. That's just a very cool sort of almost an open-ended kind of a design they put on this.
Yeah, I like it as well. And personally, I made the statement when we first got the samples. I think that the Star Bright is, to me, the prettiest ladies' timepiece that Stuhrling Original has made to date so far. I mean, I really believe that. I just think it's gorgeous. And I've already given one of these. In fact, the one that Mary's wearing right here is the one that I gave as a gift to a friend for him to give it to his wife, and she wears it when we go out to dinner, and she just loves it. And I'm going to get that green one for my daughter. My daughter has red hair, and with red hair and the green, it's just that's her favorite color. And the Tsavorite garnets, of course, as you mentioned, you don't see a lot of even jewelry with Tsavorite garnets, let alone timepieces.
Yeah, to see that on a watch, I thought was so unusual. Maybe that's why I emphasize it. I think if you want something that is unusual that not everybody else has, I mean, absolutely go with Tsavorite. Now, on the screen currently, this is something that, as a lot of you know, we haven't had available for a while. I'd say for probably the better part of a month. What you are seeing is the #1 selling Stuhrling watch of all time. Not just here, in print ads, in other mediums, and what have you. This is the #1 seller. And I've got both dials. We'll be getting to it a little bit later, but you can acquire it now. This is a mechanical automatic. This is a regulator. It's also got the very cool retro dial. It's an animated AM/PM indicator. This is a beautiful, beautiful watch. And of course, you're more familiar with this even than I. You guys have actually sold this not by hundreds, even thousands, but many thousands of pieces.
Yes, in fact, typically for Stuhrling Original, we'll make anywhere between 500 to 1,000 pieces of a particular model. A heavy produced model for us might be 2,000 or 2,500. This particular model we have made in excess now of 10,000 pieces. So this is by far our #1 seller of all time, and a lot of it has to do with the marketing. But look at I think open hearts. I think, you know, where you show the balance wheel, there's just something, you know, magnetic about it. It just draws you in. It's just so beautiful to look at, and it also has a separate GMT hand as well. But the heft of the watch, guys. If you don't own a regulator, try the Adamas. It is truly unconquerable.
This piece, by the way, I'm told there is almost none available in the silver dial. Realistically, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but realistically, by the time we get to this, the silver is going to be completely sold out. So I'm going to strongly recommend calling in advance. And frankly, if you call, and I assure you there's not a bad choice here. If you call and the silver is in process of being spoken for, is confirmed gone, then get yourself the black dial. But I just want to warn everybody up front, there's very, very few of the silver. So 2953 on that. Now, moving from here, let's take a look at the Manhattan Chic. This is one I always enjoy presenting. In fact, I like this watch so much that actually right between Christmas and New Year's I bought, well, for the record, not one but 3 Stuhrlings. And 2 of the 3 I think we're going to take a look at during the course of the show. Now, I will tell you right up front on this that we have got no more than, it looks like 12 or 15 of the one that is termed silver. So I want to make very clear what that is. The one that is termed silver is the black dial. Now, all of these, by the way, have outer track mother of pearl. Yeah. They're all large. They're all mechanical automatic. We'll get into that. But if you want the one with the darkest dial, which is literally a black dial with black outer track mother of pearl, and if anybody cares, is the one I actually ended up choosing, just so you know, there's no more than 12 or 15 of those. Now, all of these list for over $1,000. They're all available at $299, and they're all available with interest-free payments. So truly, what this comes down to is which of these aesthetically plays better for you. Now, when I choose a watch for myself, and there's a lot of factors, of course, that go in, but I will tell you that if I'm looking at what is referred in the industry as a skew, which means, let's take this for example. This would be a skew, and within that skew there would be, in this case, the silver, the rose, and the blue. Usually when I'm looking at something like that, there's one that jumps out, and you go, okay, that's the one that I like. This is one that I actually took the better part of a month before I could decide which dial I really wanted to go with. And for the record, I chose the black dial because I had relatively few black dials in my collection. I didn't have black mother of pearl in particular. So that's why I picked that one, and I'll illustrate this a bit later on. Any of you who, as I do, love exotic straps. This takes a 22 millimeter exotic, and it is fantastic for those of you who mess around with exotic straps. Even if you don't want to mess around with the straps, the leather strap with which this ships is very cool. So let's do 3 minutes on this. We'll take a look at it. I should tell you now, there's already down to less than 10 if you want the black dial, which please believe me, you order under the word silver. Some of you would say, why don't you just call it black? I don't know. I wasn't there. But you order, believe me, silver tone will get you the black dial. Now, the rose tone is the outer track mother of pearl is kind of a milky sort of a mocha color, and it's rose gold on the numbers in the hands, and blue, as you can see, is the one with the blue. So you have the blue hands and the blue markers. I will also tell you that in the blue, it is the true white mother of pearl. I mean, just almost stark white. And they are, in a word, absolutely striking. And I would have to assume it's not unique here. I mean, you guys must have a huge response all across your existing sales matrix.
No question. This is our Manhattan.
Look at the mother of pearl.
The mother of pearl is just sensational. And you know, I also struggled with which execution to have and to get, and I, just like you, when I saw.
That's true. You have one of these.
Yeah, I do. I have the rose gold, but you know, in some respects, I almost wish now I would have taken the blue because, I mean, they're all fantastic. You cannot screw it up on this one. No matter which one you get, you're going to get just tremendous compliments. You're going to be very, very happy. A really large size rectangular case. It's curved on top, big curved Cristerna crystal, day and date complication. But you will get so many compliments on this piece. You're going to feel like $1 million out there, guys, wearing this piece. For the money, I mean, God, there's so many great values on this show tonight and every show we do, but the Manhattan Chic is certainly right at the top of the list. You cannot go wrong. This particular case, if you recognize it, we had another very popular seller in our Manhattan case called the Aussie, which had was a quartz movement, of course, and it had the multicolored kind of rainbow.
Yeah, which is and by the way, you know, the ladies' version of the Aussie is going to be in next hour.
The Over the Rainbow,
yes. The Over the Rainbow, which is incredibly cool.
And it's got the beautiful step design. And
is it this hour? Cool.
I would say this, you know, even though this is a very, very large timepiece, okay, and it's just great for the men, you know, somehow, as big as it is, somehow this kind of plays okay with ladies. Because many, many ladies ordered this case in the Manhattan Aussie.
Oh, yeah.
because they didn't, they wanted a lot of ladies are wearing large cases.
Well, I think one of the reasons for that is that this is so natural. I mean, you look at this on, and obviously with me wearing this one, but this is so naturally dramatic. I think anybody who's looking to make a real statement with their timepiece, be it a man or a woman, is going to love owning this because it's not subtle.
It's so striking.
Exactly.
It's so impressive. I mean, you can literally see it from across the street. Guys, you cannot go wrong with this piece, no matter which execution you get. I mean, that crystal alone, you have no idea what that cost. I mean, that is a huge curved Cristerna crystal on the top. A lot of money. Grade A mother of pearl, applied numerals. You've got the guilloche design in the center, a day and date complication. This is not a quartz timepiece, ladies and gentlemen. This is a mechanical self-winding movement as well. So there's 316L surgical stainless steel. You've got the knurled edge pull-out crown as well, 22 millimeter genuine French leather strap. It's got the water repellent liner. It's got a push button, dual deploying clasp. I mean, we can go on and on. It's got the Côte de Genève decoration on the movement, the rotor as well. I mean, the Manhattan Chic is definitely one of our all-time hits, no question.
We're actually going to go to the Over the Rainbow next, which is designed for women and smaller than this, and also very, very colorful. And you'll see in just a few moments. Also, at least verbally, I want to remind everybody the new Aviator, known as the Aviator Pro. That is the one that's steel on steel, very heavy, beautiful 316L steel bracelet. That is going to be officially unveiled next hour. If you want more details, you can check it out at shoppingsource.com. In fact, I'll try to preview it for you after we show you the Over the Rainbow. Now, we were just showing you, of course, this very cool, obviously very large, rectangular case, double-step bezel. This is the same thing, only tiny. It has the same very cool bezel, the same crystal. This is not an automatic. This one is a quartz. But I think the real attraction on this is the combination of the very cool case combined with this extremely colorful dial. And this puts you in some wonderful company, by the way. There are several very expensive watches that are delivering this sort of look and doing a wonderful job with it. I guess the most obvious one is Franck Muller, but you can also get, who else? Roger Dubuis, I believe, is doing something now. The point is, it's no longer the sign of an inexpensive watch to have a very colorful dial. Quite the opposite. You're seeing Corin would be another one. And Corin's been doing this for 3 years now.
Silverstein as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Elaine Silverstein. You guys can drop 6 figures on an Elaine Silverstein, and you want one of his tourbillons. And by the way, I think he's brilliant. It took a while for him to grow on me, by the way. I first saw his stuff and went, what is up with that?
Well, he's a little out of the box.
But the more I look at it, I got to get one of those. They're just cool. The point being is now this really big, bold, colorful stuff is almost synonymous with the real high-end kind of a connoisseur's line of watches.
Well, you have all the colors of the rainbow right here, and I think what separates us from some of the others is we have a beautiful guilloche hydraulic stamp dial on this piece. The hands are color coordinated to the strap. We give you what we call a candied crocodile strap. It does have the quick release pins. If you wanted to change that out for something else, you certainly could, but I like these straps a lot. I think they're great. There's the guilloche work. Nice shot, Brett. Coming in. You also have the date complication. There again, we could have easily left the date complication off of this timepiece, folks. It's a Swiss quartz movement, and just giving you a 3-hand movement, it probably would have made no difference whatsoever in the sales of the Over the Rainbow, but we kept the date complication because the men's watch had the date complication. Again, trying to maintain all of the achievement for the ladies that we do for the guys. But again, you'll get a lot of compliments on this piece, ladies, and all we have left now is just these last 2 executions, the sky blue or the baby blue and the baby pink, and that's it. We don't have any more.
Oh, so this is done.
This is it.
Now, are you guys doing any more of the big color?
This is the end of the rainbow, Tim.
If you will. So are you guys going to be doing more of the real bold colors on dials in the future or not?
I hope so. I'm not really sure. I kind of stay out of the creation side, the production side. We have such a fabulous design team between Mr. Fisher and our overseas partner as well. But, I think another thing that separates us from some of the others is everybody's taken their whack at these multicolored, exploding numerals and what have you. Some of them are using earth tones. Some of them are using pastels. We went with what's referred to as primary jewel tones. And I think it really works. I think the primary jewel tones really do work here, as you can see as they go around the dial. I think it's just great. It kind of looks like something for maybe kids. On the other side of the coin, I've received emails from I wouldn't say old ladies, but from older, more mature women that wear this piece, and they got it as a gift and so forth, and also all the way down to young moms and so forth. So I mean, it's kind of for everybody, even though it looks like something for the youth, but it's not necessarily that way, not anymore.
Now this does ship with quick change pins, and by the way, it takes a 16mm strap. So if you like I am, if you collect exotics, you can go over to our website, and without exaggeration, we have some of the finest exotic lizard straps in the world that are made by Stylecraft, and we do carry the 16s. And I have done this, won't do this today, but I've done this in the show before, where you can plug in, because let's face it, almost every color you can think of is on this dial. You can not just plug in one strap. You can plug in almost any strap that you want, and this thing takes off. It's just incredible. Now, obviously, it's got a very cool polished leather. I don't know how to really describe this other than this really wonderfully weird strap. It's just great.
It's kind of like a rock candy
very
finish.
Candy-esque.
It really is, yeah. And if
check it out for $50.
If you do want to go with a different kind of strap, just take notice that the hands are color coordinated to the strap. So the one that Mary's showing you, while it has the baby pink strap, it also has the color coordinated hands. Now the dials are identical, okay, but the hands, you see the pink hands, and the blue has the blue hands. So if you were going to get a different strap, you'd want to at least keep that in mind.
By the way, I want to update everybody, if you want the blue version, and that does have the blue hands, otherwise, as Larry was pointing out, identical, we are down to less than 20 in the blue. So realistically, and it always depends on who's in the audience and who's calling when, but realistically, the blue will sell out first. And if you missed the presentation earlier, the red, we're confirming gone, and purple, which is, the purple one on the end, that is also gone. All right. Let me recap the Emperor very quickly, and also, if we can, Chris, I want to show the Pro from next hour real fast too, because there's a lot of new stuff, which of course, well, duh, with it being a Stuhrling event and all. All right, the Emperor continuing to set records for demand as well as sales. This is a 41mm watch. It is a mechanical automatic. It plays oversized in just about everybody. It's about 12mm thick, Cristerna crystal front and back, outer track mother of pearl, guilloche design dial, open heart complication, double time zone, each on a separate dial, exhibition back, handset, hand screwed in, genuine cabochon sapphire inset into the crown, custom leather work, and I'm sure I'm leaving some stuff out. Anyway, from over $1,300, this is available at $399. Now, all four, and you can choose with or without rose gold layering, and obviously lighter dial or dark, so a total of four, they're all available. I will tell you that the rose gold layered versions are the closest to being sold out, but so far, all four hanging in there.
I just thought of something.
Which is?
Father's Day really isn't that far away. It's June, right?
I should know that.
I know it's only
Who knows
March.
What Father's Day is.
I think it's in June.
No, is it June? Mary knows. Mary knows it's in June. Mary.
I know because, anyway, we won't go in there. But the point I'm making is, I know it's not, it's a little bit far away, but this would be a great gift for Dad.
Well,
right
I would
here.
point out by the time June rolls around, we won't have any of these.
No,
no
way.
If you are thinking along those lines, that's not a bad idea, actually. Snag one. I don't have permission to use the name of the site, so I won't. But I find it very interesting that and I don't mean a competitor in the sense of WSS, a competing watch brand website, recently, and I only learned about it today, actually had a favorable review of the Emperor.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't have their permission, so I can't use their name. But
well, you have to tell me after the show because I haven't seen it.
It's pretty cool.
Because of the fact that you pre-sold these, and because of the fact that you guys ship so quickly, I actually started. People go online and they do the registration.
That's how they were able to review it.
But they register. Some of the people register through our website rather than mail in the cards, and so. There's always a section for comments. I got some fantastic comments on this.
People love this watch.
Before I even got on the plane to come here, and I'm thinking, they already have it. They're registered. I'm getting comments, and we haven't even showed it on TV yet.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we offered a, granted it was a limited offer, but we offered a pre-release where people could buy that watch about a week and a half out from the official world premiere, and we had an overwhelming, not only sales response to that, but the reviews have been extraordinarily positive. And I know you guys love your watch, and a lot of you wearing it right now as you're watching the official world premiere, so congratulations on purchasing it early, and it is a beautiful watch. Let's take a look now. This is very, very cool. Now, first of all, let's talk about availability. All right, we have the black one in the middle, black dial with a 316L steel. We have the blue one. That's a true midnight blue all the way to the right in this shot. We have the copper dial, though I will tell you there's not a lot of them, but I have it. And if you want the white, which is all the way down on the left, that is, again, I'll tell you right now, there's less than 20 of the white. So that one, realistically, you're going to see it for the last time. Two-tone does remain sold out. If we can get more, I'll be thrilled, but I can't guarantee it. Now, one of the things I liked about this one, just right out of the gate, is that it's a very literal name. It is a vintage, they call it the vintage, and that's exactly what this looks like. This looks actually like one of the designs that originated, and I don't know the exact year, but I believe it was in the 1940s.
This looks like something from the 40s for sure.
And now recently, of course, it's become much more in vogue with a cushion that has a circle on the inside. It's being made popular by any number of the higher-end brands, and that's great and all that. But contrary to popular belief, this isn't something that just cropped up in the last 3 or 4 years. It's been around for many, many decades, and I've always liked it. It's been very regal. It's elegant because it is so established from as far back as it could even be the 30s, but I think it is the 1940s. The point is, with such a track record, this can realistically be called a classic design. You can invest in this now, and it's going to perform. You can wear this 10, 20 years from now. It's going to continue to perform, unlike watches, for example, that tend to be more trendy and will eventually be out of vogue. This one won't, and it's gorgeous.
It really is. This is something that I know that we plan to do more with this case and more with this series. It's definitely been a big home run for Stuhrling Original, the vintage. It's got the what we call TV style case, or it's a cushion case. But all the dials, I think, are just spectacular. The white dial looks like a true porcelain white. It's not porcelain, but it looks like porcelain. The Breguet style of hands are the old-fashioned classic style of Breguet style. It's got the luminescent minute markers on the every 5 minutes. The coin edge bezel, the big bulbous type of knurled edge crown as well. But it does really look like something from the retro era, the retro deco era of the 40s. And I would say in that kind of a vein, probably the copper dial fits that era the most, because a lot of retro deco jewelry has a rose gold look to it, has that kind of copper color, and of course rose gold is made with copper, as you probably know. But in any case, no matter which execution you get, this has just been a spectacular piece for Stuhrling Original, and because of its success, we're planning to do more. And as far as value goes, I mean, this is right up there at the top of the list as well. For $180, you're getting a beautiful mechanical automatic movement. This is not a battery-operated watch. There's no battery in this watch. It's a self-winding movement as well. Beautiful stainless steel case. I mean, this is just a great value for the money to be able to get, a mechanical self-winding movement under $200. I mean,
I've got just scant seconds remaining here. I will tell you that we're now down to less than 10 if you want the white one. Very much looks like the Duca white porcelain dial. Now again, it's not, but I got to tell you, aesthetically, unless you are really, really familiar with very expensive high-end dials, you would swear this is actually a porcelain dial. It's very well done. All of these watches have exhibition backs. They're all mechanical automatic, obviously. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, but they are. They all feature, therefore, the true mechanical automatic big date complication, offset sweep. There's a very subtle domed effect to the Cristerna crystal that moves across the top of this. And basically, with scant seconds remaining, let me put one of these on for you guys real quick. And we got to go. We got to hit a timeout here.
That is an auto-correctional big date as well.
Well, that's a good point to bring up.
Which is
it doesn't go 32, 33, 34.
Right. It's an extra complication, too. So great value for the money.
For those of you who don't know what that means, again, very quickly, a lot of mechanical automatic big dates don't just go to 31 and then back to 1. They'll go 32, 33, 34, and then you have to obviously fix that. This one is auto-correctional, meaning it will go from 31 immediately back to 1. So it's very cool. Anyway, we got to take a quick time out. Please enjoy these short films. We will be back and continue with part 2 of the Stuhrling event right after this.
The Disc Repair Pro is an item your household needs. Restore scratched and damaged discs to optimal condition. 98% of all scratches on CDs, DVDs, and games are fixed in an instant. Video games cost at least $40. Repair one scratch game and the Disc Repair Pro has already paid for itself.
Nazi troops pushed relentlessly across Europe. In only 9 months, they conquered 6 nations. But each new victory only whetted Hitler's appetite for more. On a Black Friday in June 1940, German troops marched into Paris, and the gay French capital turned quickly into a spiritless Nazi garrison town.
Become part of the greatest conflict of the 20th century, all for just $9.99. That's 38 cents per movie at WSS.
In the world of fashion, styles come and go, but a fine timepiece tells a lot about a man. And the legend of the Swiss watch is unmistakably a label of excellence and achievement. Stuhrling Original respects the art and tradition of the Swiss watchmaking legend. At Stuhrling Original, quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort. WSS is proud to have Stuhrling Original join our family.
Everybody, welcome back into the show. My name is Tim, and you are tuned to the Worldwide Shopping Source and the show we call Lines of Time. It's my pleasure indeed to welcome the president of Stuhrling, Larry Magen, live to our program, and he'll be here in just a couple of minutes. First of all, I wanted to talk about some upcoming events, more specifically that due to what we now know for a fact, we used to anticipate, now we know, is a huge demand for Stuhrling. We are extending the hours where you can view this exciting line of watches. Case in point, on Monday, March the 20th, you can check it out, and these are all Eastern times. Eastern times, 1 p.m. Eastern, so a great afternoon show. 7 p.m. Eastern, and then our anchored show, for those of you who don't know, every Monday night here at WSS, we do offer a show, a 2-hour show that kicks off at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, and so on, every Monday evening. So, of course, we'll have that one for you. And we'll be finishing up with a huge Tuesday morning event. That's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central, and that will be with Karen Connolly. And, of course, the president of Stuhrling, Larry Magen, will be joining her for that, and, of course, through the variety of shows, as you can see. Now, I also want to mention very quickly the Watch newsletter. Now, many thousands of you already subscribe, but I realize that we have millions of viewers at any particular moment potentially, and if you haven't yet signed up, you really should. This newsletter is absolutely free. It is email only. When you sign up for this, we don't spam you, we don't send you things you didn't want, and we don't give your information to other people. And what the newsletter will do is, as information comes to us, as news comes to us, we like to pass it on. And I'm talking about not just products on our show. I mean, obviously we talk about that, but we also talk about overviews of the industry. Case in point, the latest issue, we're going to have an overview of ladies' watches, a synopsis, if you will, from a recent roundtable from 6 of the most powerful women in the world of watches. A lot of CEOs, by the way, in these big Swiss companies now are women. Audemars Piguet, case in point, and Breitling, to name a couple. So we're going to have kind of an overview of the result of that. I'm also going to update you on the latest from Swiss Ed of Valjoux, and obviously products as we continue to bring them here to the show. Now, to subscribe, it's very easy. All you have to do is go to our website, shoppingsource.com. Now, on the home page of shoppingsource.com, there's going to be a very obvious link. You click that, sign up for the newsletter called Lines of Time, and you're good. All right, so that's how you do it. Another advantage I should point out, and as a lot of you know, we've had the world premiere of the Emperor, the latest from Stuhrling, a very regal, very elegant watch. That happened over the course of this weekend. But we already had many, many people owning this prior to the premiere. How is that possible? Well, subscribing to the newsletter very oftentimes allows you to purchase items anywhere from a couple, 3 days in advance to, and we don't do this a lot, but in the event of the Emperor, there was even one instance where a select group could purchase as much as a week and a half in advance. So there's a lot of advantages to getting in on this free newsletter, so by all means, please do. Now, let's do this. Let's take a look at a bit of a preview, and then we'll get Larry out here, and we'll talk about watches. Now, as always, this preview means that these watches are immediately available. Now, the Aviator Pro is another watch making its world premiere, its debut, if you will, right now. And I've got to tell you that we've already had a huge response to it. We had the big Sunday morning event, case in point. Rose gold at this time may be sold out. Now, I would encourage you to check it out. If a couple have bounced available, absolutely, we're obviously happy to sell them to you. If you are just totally heart set on the rose gold, at this point, I want to tell you a couple of things. Send us an email. You want to send it to host, that's plural, HOSDS, host at shoppingsource.com, and just write Aviator Rose or something like that in the title line. That's all you have to do. And we've already started a waiting list for that. Also, I wish to announce that I've been on the phone throughout the course of today, and I've actually gotten several other people involved. We're working with New York. We are going to do our best to get the rose gold on Monday night's show. Now, I cannot promise that we'll have it. I can promise to try. So if you love the watch, and a lot of you will, might I suggest one of the other two dials, because of course you get all the same complications and everything else. So that's where we are in this situation. Clearly this is going to be, not going to be, it already is a monster hit for Stuhrling. In fact, I can tell you right now, I think it's either down to less than 30 or less than 20, I want to say, in the black dial. I mean, so there's a lot of response to this. Anyway, it's 16096. It's almost a $1,500 watch. You guys can check this out for just your first interest-free payment of $133. And we'll get this to you in 2 to 3 days. Remember, one of the many advantages of choosing your watch, or for that matter, your new item of jewelry, from WSS is that you do not any longer have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to get the watch or the item of jewelry that you order off of television. You can now get it in 2 to 3 days. Let's move to the Odyssey. This one, again, very, very new. I will also tell you up front, since this debuted to the world on Sunday morning, that the brown, while it is still available, is first of all the overwhelming hit, and this shot, by the way, won't necessarily illustrate it, but it is a true tobacco brown, or a mahogany brown. It is well, it's brown, but it's got this rich red overtone to it, and it is truly a fantastic looking watch. This is a mechanical automatic. Has a skeletonized dial, but not a skeletonized movement. This is a beautifully decorated. You see the main plate of the watch movement here, case in point. So you've got this beautiful decoration. It is an exhibition bag, and from $660, this is now available at $199. Interest-free payments can be as low as you can see, $67, only $8.99 to FedEx. And again, you will have this in the next couple of 3 days. For shipping purposes, let's call this Monday. Most of you will have this Wednesday, Thursday. No problem at all. 16097 if you want to grab that offer. And last but far from least, the #1 selling Stuhrling of all time. Not just here, but it happens to be true here, but though I think that Emperor might have something to say about that before we're done. But right now, yeah, this is the #1 seller, but I'm not just talking about here. I'm talking about in the history of Stuhrling, not just in television, but in the likes of print ads and brick and mortar and all the places you can get Stuhrling. This is the #1 selling watch to date that they have ever done. This is over $1,300. It's a regulator. Of course, it's a mechanical automatic. It's got an animated AM/PM indicator and open heart, a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, from over $1,300, it's back in stock. It's at $349, and again, with our interest-free payment program, check this one out for as little as $117, and we'll have this to you in the next couple of 3 days. It's under item number 2953 to take advantage of that one. 2953. All right. Now, we've got a lot to talk about here, including a couple of watches that we didn't even have a chance to get to, frankly, in our first hour. So let's welcome Larry. He's right over here, president of Stuhrling.
Hey, Tim.
And Larry, I know this is probably just almost like tired rhetoric by now to you, but once again, I got to say congratulations on the huge response from the Sunday morning event and setting yet other and additional, I guess we could say, sales records with Stuhrling. And we've also discussed this, but I don't know if this is going to eventually be seen as an obstacle or a goal, because it's almost expected now that every time Stuhrling comes back to television, you guys are going to do some sort of a record-setting event.
Well, it never gets tired for me, Tim. I just love being here. I love going through the watches. I have a real passion for watches, as I know many of you at home do as well. And for all the Stuhrling collectors out there, we've got something to lead off this hour right here, going way back a couple of years, but we only have a limited quantity. You're going to want to jump on that. But we do that just to kind of spice things up at a real promotional value, so you're going to have to be quick on the trigger. But I never get tired of it, Tim, never.
Well, we're going to open up with something we're going to show you for 60 seconds. Most of them are obviously sold out. And this is, frankly, a bargain. And I'll set this up very, very briefly. What we've been able to do since we partnered with Stuhrling is we've been privy to some of the stuff that you guys, as I describe it, you have in your vault.
Right.
Some of these pieces 3-4 years old, albeit the fact that they've never been sold prior. And this is an example where you can get a mechanical automatic with sapphire crystal for $130.
Sapphire crystals front and back. You better hurry. You got to be quick. There's only a few pieces, promotionally priced at $129 from the old days, you might say. Early execution, early Stuhrling original. So it's the Apollo. It's our case. It's our model number 52C. It's got the cabochons and the lugs. Look at it's kind of a very classic style of design with a nice 40mm round case. Big date complication down there at the 6 o'clock, and again, a very early Stuhrling original, and it's got the amply padded, genuine nubuck leather strap as well with the deployant clasp. You've got the cabochon and the crown as well, but again, it's kind of a promotional piece here. We only had a few, and we've done this month after month. We bring it. In fact, we had a couple more that sold out this morning.
Yeah.
The Voyager, and I forget which other one, but the Le Mans 24. But we still have a few of the Apollos left, so if you hurry quick for Stuhrling collectors, this is a piece you're going to want to get. It's a collector's piece, but you got to hurry.
There is less than 20. If you'd like it, it is 16099. 16099. And since these are no longer made, we're quite literally in a situation when these are gone, they're gone for good. Can't get them anymore. $800 watch, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next example. And this next one, I personally find to be extremely dressy, very, very regal.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to show you. First of all, let me talk to producer Chris for a second. Do we still have both of these? Okay, because I know that when we first previewed them, we did, but I also know that, okay, we do. My personal prediction, rose gold Larry will probably outsell the white metal. I think they are both gorgeous. I think they're very elegant. Frankly, part of what to me is so cool about these is that they look really, really expensive. Because if you haven't followed the trend, I'll fill you in very quickly. There is a trend, and when I say expensive, I'm talking very expensive watches. Forget 4 figures. We're talking serious 5-figure watches that have brought out their moon phases to where the whole complication of the moon phase, including the wheel that makes it happen, is actually exposed on the top of the dial. I happen to really like the look. I think it's beautiful. Now, this is not a moon phase. This is an animated AM/PM indicator, but it does really look like one of these skeletonized moon phases. And in fact, the watch itself is a mechanical automatic. Now, big case, at least a 40mm cabochon inside. There's a lot to talk about. So let's do 3 minutes on this, guys, and then we're going to move on here. It's what, $1,100, $1,140. You guys get this at $349, and with interest-free payments, you can check this out for as little as $117. And by the way, Larry, and I know I've told you this before, I think personally this is one of the coolest dials to date that you guys have ever done, and given the fact that Stuhrling is so famous for dials, right. I think that's quite a statement.
It absolutely is true, Tim. It kind of has a rolling wave pattern, like waves off the shore of, let's say, Newport, Rhode Island.
Sure.
But in any case, we actually brought this here last month, and it was a very quick sellout. We had a decent quantity in both the rose gold and the stainless steel, and they both sold out very quickly. And we've actually refilled you guys for this appearance here this weekend. But this is a regulator, okay? It's in our what we call our eternity case, and that's where the forever comes from. It's got a nice kind of eternity band, a nice ring going around the bezel there. It's polished and beveled, as you can see. But the dial is one of the things that makes it so spectacular. As you said, Tim, one of our greatest dials we've done. It's a guilloche hydraulic stamped dial, and you're looking at the offset second hand subdial there. You've got the hour hand at the top up at 12 o'clock, and you've got the minute hand down there right in the middle. So it is a regulator. Right now this watch would be reading as 6:10. Okay, you see how the hour hand up there is pointing between the 6 and the 7, and then the minute hand is at the 11, let's say. So it's 6:11, which is about, I guess, what it is right now here in the Central Time Zone. And as you pointed out, you've got the AM/PM indicator over there at the traditional 9 o'clock position. And as you can see, the round circle represents the sun. The sun is setting, and the moon is about to come up. So you know it's 6:11 in the evening as the sun is setting, you see. But in any case, if you don't have a regulator in your collection, our Newport is really one of the finest that we've ever made. It has what we call sword blade hands. Okay, kind of like a sword blade. This is a mechanical self-winding movement as well. No battery in this watch. You've got a decorated case back that's screwed down as well, and Côte de Genève decoration on the movement as well. Big, push-button dual deploying clasp. You've got the genuine French leather strap. You've got a sapphire cabochon in the crown as well. There's your decorated movement. But every time we do a regulator, they always are big hits. You know, you mentioned the Adamas. That's another regulator, and I think we're planning to show our Time Master in this hour. I don't know, but that's another regulator. But the Newport is certainly right at the top of the list. Just a nice classic round 40mm case. And if the case looks familiar, this happens to be the exact same case as our Eternal Tourbillon. This is our what we call our Eternity series, and the lugs are a little different. They kind of flare out to the sides just a little bit, and that is the exact same case as we use for our day-date tourbillon, which we've sold a number of those here at WSS.
By the way, that tourbillon in this exact case lists for almost $16,000.
That's
to give
right.
you an idea of the kind of neighborhood you're moving into if you happen to own this particular case. I think this watch has got a beautiful sense of elegance to it. Takes, I believe, a 20mm strap, so if, like myself, you happen to collect exotics, this is going to plug right into it. As we did predict, once again, the #1 seller here is going to be the one treated in the rose gold. That will actually give you rose gold treatment, both obverse and reverse. But to me, it doesn't matter which one of these you pick. There's not a downside. I know some of you, in fact, a lot of you in the audience tend to gravitate more to the rose gold. Is technically that more valuable? Technically, yeah, it is. I think, frankly, the white polished 316L steel with the blue markers and hands is going to make this a little bit more versatile. You can pull this a little bit more, in just my view, jeans, for example, a little bit easier than you can with the rose gold. Now, I know I've got to move on here, but in closing, if you're not familiar with what a regulator is, let me illustrate it very quickly here on this dial. Basically, a regulator, it's also known as a doctor's watch. It puts the minute hand and the hour hand on two different dials. This would be your minute hand, and this guy up here is your hour hand. So you would look, and you'll notice this has both a long and a short. Now, not all regulators have that. This is a little bit fancier, actually, so it kind of expounds upon it. So you've got a short hand that controls the inner dial, if you will, and then the longer will indicate the hours on the outer. So in this case, this one will be about 6 o'clock here, and about 6:15 is what this watch currently reads. This is a quick set date, offset sweep, animated AM PM indicator, all done with a fantastic guilloche design dial. Total value of over $1,100 at $349, and with interest-free payments, you can check it out for as little as $117 and $8.99 to FedEx. You guys are going to have this by mid-week. Remember, one of the many advantages of WSS, if it's on our screen, it is in our vault. You're going to have this not in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, but in a couple of 3 days. 16054. Now, in this example, quick update, I'm down to less than half a dozen. This is, as predicted, going to sell out. This is sapphire crystal, front and back. It is a mechanical automatic with a big date complication, and in my opinion, it's heavily influenced design-wise from the early mid-'60s. It's just got this great kind of a retro feel to it. And if you are looking to get in one of the older Stuhrlings, because Stuhrling, I'm not going to say they don't use sapphire, but to my knowledge, the only ones in current production that utilize sapphire crystal are the tourbillons. You go back a few years, Stuhrling was actually using a lot more sapphire in their construction, and this happens to be one of them. And this has got sapphire crystal front and back, an $800 example, and it's at $129 for quite literally now a couple of callers. $43, interest-free payments. You guys want to check it out that route. 16099 to get in, obviously, on the last of those. Now, let's take a look at, in fact, we're going to show you 2 watches at the same time here. And I think, in fairness, first of all, out of the gate, I want to talk about the watch availability. Now, to my knowledge, what I'll call the rose gold example, meaning the layered, is gone. Now, we have already started a wait list for it because we got guys working both here in the Twin Cities as well as New York to get some for Monday night's show. And I said, we're trying. I can't guarantee it. It looks good right now, but I can't guarantee it. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to host, that's plural, HOSTS, host at shoppingsource.com, and just write Aviator Rose or something in the title line, and we'll put you on a wait list. Otherwise, please consider one of these other 2 dials because they're all just fantastic. Now, I will also point out that if you want the rose, there is one way I can do it. We do have this in the rose gold, but we have it in the leather example. So I think one of the good places to start here is I want to start by illustrating both of the available pieces. If you want the Aviator Pro, Well, let's start with the Aviator, just well, let's call the Aviator, the original, if you will. This is one that is available under 2917. 2917. And yes, we still have the rose gold treated example, which is obverse and reverse. We do have it in this. Now, the steel on steel, that's gone, and as I've told you, we're hoping to get it for Monday night. But this is available right now. Now, it's a $1,200 example. You can get that at $349. In fact, and Larry, I know you talked about this earlier today. What you did is you took the same 3 dials, and now you've reintroduced it, I guess would be the correct term, with the steel. Mm-hmm. So now let's talk about the Aviator Pro. You take these 3 very popular dials and concepts, and you bring them, and I guess we could almost call it an updated, I would imagine probably a requested version. I know you're dealing with collectors and requests, and can you guys do this, that, and the other fairly often. You guys are now delivering with a very heavy 316L bracelet. This, by the way, and I like that you pointed this out in the other show that we did, that the bracelet itself at a $50 upgrade, in fact, should be running a great deal more than that.
Definitely it should be. This is WSS anniversary celebration pricing here at $399. It should be a lot more than that, because if you subtract, the Aviator from this, that means you're getting the bracelet for $50. They cost us more than that. So, I mean, that really is special pricing. As far as requests for, the Aviator on a link, quite frankly, I don't really recall any, but what happened is that the Aviator became our signature piece for 2005. It just took off like a shot, and we wanted to follow up and do some more things, and we're planning to do some more follow-up even after this. And one of the ideas that came up from our design team was, hey, let's put it on a link bracelet. And here it is. And this morning, as you pointed out, Tim, the rose gold went first. I picked up mine on Friday, right before I came here to Minneapolis, and I went for the stainless steel bracelet with the blue. That's the one that you have in your hand, you're showing right there. But I think one of the things that makes this piece just so spectacular, of course, is the movement itself. This is the StarTech 5050C. It's a well-known movement now. It's about a year old, actually, when Rhonda first came out with it. But it's the only chronograph movement in the world to combine 4 indicators of a chronograph, tenths of a second, seconds, minutes, and hours up to 12, combined with a day of the week and a big date complication. It's a 7-hand movement. It's got 13 jewels. It's all metal parts. It's all Swiss-made movement. And it's completely repairable, and other companies purchased it, but I think, I believe we definitely hit the biggest home run with it. I mean, the way we packaged it with that kind of gasket-style faceplate, it looks like an airplane instrument panel. Everything we've done on this piece, we really went all out, and to deliver it at $350, nobody's even close to that. And here, for your celebration, your anniversary, with the Aviator Pro, first time being shown this morning, we already had a great response, and I just love this piece myself. I typically wear leather straps or exotic straps, and I wanted to try it on, and I tried it on, and now I'm wearing it, and it's a very generous bracelet, by the way, and I had our watchmaker take out 2 links to tighten it up, and it fit me like a normal watch, and then I asked him, can you put them back in? And so I'm actually wearing it like a gentleman's bracelet, and I actually like it that way. It's like a piece of jewelry. So I just love it, and I'm thinking about when I get back to New York, picking me up one of the rose gold ones too, so that I can, if I want to go a little more formal. But this one, the stainless steel, I think you can pull it in so many different ways. Jeans and a t-shirt, jeans and a polo shirt. You can wear it a little bit dressy, go to the store, whatever. I mean, all age ranges, all brackets. You're a young guy, you're an old guy, you're a middle guy, you're a kid. It doesn't matter. This piece is for everybody, and it's a guys kind of piece too. It's got all the gadgets and everything else. But we're proud of it, and we are planning to do more in this vein, in this what we call our Time Machine series now. This is from our Time Machine series within our Special Reserve collection, and we've got a new Rhonda movement coming out hopefully in the next quarter. We should have it, but that's going to be a little bit different. But, we're going to keep following up because this has become our signature piece now.
This, and once again, I want to go over exact item numbers here because we are showing you 2 different examples. And I think there's 2 different ways, frankly, to approach your choice. First of all, if you want the brand new one, what's called the Pro example, you want to order 16096. That gets you the very heavy, and it is, when you really understand it when you get this home, very heavy bracelet That's at $399. It lists for almost $1,500. You can get that under 16096. That's with interest-free payments as low as $133. By the way, only $8.99 to FedEx, and you guys are going to have this in the next 2 or 3 days, not the next 2 or 3 weeks. Now, let's call that choice number one. And indeed, this weekend for the event, the Aviator Pro is outselling the leather example. Now, I think that has a lot to do with it, not only being a great-looking watch, which it is, but also being new. Now, if you are looking to get, for example, the complicated Swiss movement, or like myself, you happen to love watches with straps, or if you like combining your watches with exotic straps. For example, on mine, and I do own one of these, I installed an exotic strap, and it's very easy to do because this takes a 20-millimeter strap. Now, that's just an option. It's something that I happen to enjoy. I like collecting the straps, and this does take a 20-millimeter, and if you'd like to consider this with some of the finest exotics in the world, go to shoppingsource.com, because we actually really do carry Stylecraft, which is one of the finest manufacturers of straps in the world. And we can save you a fortune on those, and any 20-millimeter will fit this. But anyway, even if you don't want to go there, this will save you $50. It gets you the same high-end movement, which, by the way, is a Swiss, not just a Swiss movement, it's a Swiss quartz that's a jeweled movement. I believe 13 jewels, I want to say off the top of my head, in this particular construction. This one is a full-function chronograph. This one also gives you a day window. It gives you a true big date complication. And, as I pointed out, if you notice the rose gold example, meaning obviously layered, in the new version, the Pro, that's sold out in one single airing. It's gone. Now, I'm hoping to get some for Monday night. I want to emphasize we will try. I can't guarantee it. We've, top men working on it right now, that sort of thing. All right. If you do want the rose gold example, it is available in this, what I call the leather version, the one on the strap, if you will. And that is $2,917. Now, that watch lists, as you can see, for about $1,200. We can get you into that one at $349. Interest-free payments as low as $117. $8.99 to FedEx, and you guys can have this again by midweek. Now, let's do a couple minutes, and let's think between the two. In the next 2 minutes, this is either going to be completely sold out, and we certainly had strong proof of that during the last presentation. Either way, we'll go ahead and move on. We have many other watches to get to here, including some of the new stuff between now and the top of the hour. By the way, if you are just tuning in, the Emperor, as promised, did debut today, and I will show you a live recap of that before this hour is over. And Larry, I always wonder if this isn't going to become some sort of a longevity franchise for you guys, because you already have two huge hits right out of the gate with this piece.
Thanks for asking that, Tim. I believe it is, and there's an old saying, you get what you pay for, and this movement is not cheap, okay? Absolutely. This movement cost us a lot of money to get these movements. When you're in the TV business, sometimes there's a tendency to, try to get your costs down all the time, make it cheaper for TV. And last year we went out there and we purchased the Ronda StarTech movement, and we said, all right, well, let's just take short margins on it and sell it for $350, even though it cost us a lot of money. And it was just a monster hit. And so now I believe it showed us something, is that people are willing to, for a price, get quality. And you can't get a better Swiss quartz chronograph than this one. I mean, it really is that level of quality out there. And so now we created this series called our Time Machine series, because that's what this is. This is a time machine. I mean, it's a 7-hand movement. It's legendary, and we packaged it properly. I mean, we went to great expense on this piece. And so now we're coming up with some follow-ups. And the first follow-up has been the Aviator Pro. We put a really nice, heavy,
the bracelet on that is
heavy
gorgeous.
Quality, high polished stainless steel link bracelet, and we're going to start doing a lot more in link bracelets. We talked about that just a minute ago, but link bracelets are very in right now, all across the timepiece industry. And so we got the idea, or not me, but certainly our design team said, let's put a link on this one, and we basically used the same watch heads, but we have more in line now in the Time Machine series. It won't necessarily be the same movement, but there are some other ones out there, like chronographs combining master calendars with pointer dates and things like this. And, I'm giving you a little sneak of what's coming in the next few months, but it's going to be right in the same vein here. So I think you're right, Tim. We've kind of hit on something, and it's very ironic, actually, when you stop and think about it, because if you talk about Stuhrling Original, we are really known for our mechanical automatics for a price. I mean, that's what Stuhrling really is. I mean, to be able to get mechanical self-winding timepieces under $300, under $350, the way we do it is just phenomenal. And the piece that has kind of stolen all the thunder is a quartz, but it's a top-of-the-line quartz.
Yeah, I was going to say, but this is no ordinary quartz.
Thank you. It's no
13 jewels, all metal. And for those of you who don't know, most quartz movements contain little to no metal. I mean, it is, believe it or not, a huge deal that you get one crafted entirely in metal with 13 jewels. Most quartz have none or one or something. This is a much, much higher grade piece. Now, again, to recap this very quickly, and I know we got to go. This is the one. This is the Pro. This is the hotter, frankly, again, today, no real surprise. This is the world premiere of the Pro, which offers you this very heavy 316L steel bracelet. It is available in the silver dial or in the black. I will tell you, though, the black dial in this version, while not sold out, is very, very close at this point. It also goes for closer to $1,500, $1,455. I have it in black dial. I have it in silver. And it is available at $399, also with interest-free payments. Check it out for it. Well, obviously, $133. Now,
and this is a great everyday piece too, which I don't always say that about a lot of our pieces, but definitely on this one.
Yeah, I agree. It's extremely versatile. Wear it with suits, wear it casual, what have you. 16096 if you want to grab that. Now the other one, and we've had this one for a little while, but it is exactly the same watch but on a strap, is 2917. Same very high grade movement, same Cristerna crystal screwed in back. And this one, though admittedly at this point is very close to being sold out, is available with the rose gold treatment. So if you're looking for that specific and you want to order it right now versus waiting for our Monday night show. By the way, our Monday night show is going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central. 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central, and I'm trying to word this as correctly as possible. I cannot guarantee that we have the rose gold, but we are guaranteeing to try, and odds look fairly good at this point. All right, to recap this very quickly, speaking of rose gold, it is still available, but now it is safe to say I've got less than 10 in the rose gold layered version. This is a regulator. It actually has, I guess we could call it the exposed or the skeletonized AM PM indicator. It's what looks like the rising sun and moon there at the 9 o'clock. Offset sweep, quick set date, and I think it's one of the coolest styles Stuhrling has done in a really long time. Now again, these are both available, but the hotter choice of the two has been the rose gold layered version. This lists for over $1,100. We have it at $349. We're offering the 3 interest-free payments. You can check it out for $117. Was it $9 to FedEx? You guys have this in 2 to 3 days, not 2 to 3 weeks. This is exhibition back, by the way, and it is very, very cool. 16054 to get in on that. All right, now I told you at the top we had less than, was it 20, 30, whatever. The point is they are completely sold out. Congratulations to those who ordered in time. That hasn't been built, by the way, in a better part of 2 years, so that means it's quite literally not available on the market, short of an auction or whatever. All right, now let's get to something that somebody could actually buy. Let's talk about one of the new world premieres that we're enjoying. And the Odyssey comes out, and I suppose to start with what at least I consider to be one of the more obvious traits of this, I think it's a really cool idea to take a movement and decorate it, put it in a skeleton dial, but do not make it what most people expect, which would be the skeletonized movement to match that. I like the contrast where you're actually taking more of the plate movement, but then beautifully decorating it, but placing it in the skeletonized dial.
You know, when you first look at this piece, you know, on the first glance, you think, you know, that's kind of a rugged-looking piece. It's kind of a sport-looking piece. It's kind of a manly-looking piece, and it is. All of those things. But then when you know, have more time to play with it, put it on your wrist, you realize this is actually a pretty dressy piece. And I think one of the things that makes it such a dressy timepiece is the size of the case. It's not overpowering at all. That's an 18-millimeter strap, not even a 20. So it's very gentlemanly, yet at the same time, it's kind of rugged. It's masculine, yet, you know, dressy, and it really carries it. I think even women could actually carry this piece off as well. And I know Mary's going to show it to you in just a moment here, but it just is really odd to put this one in a category. It really is. It's difficult to put it in a category, but it's very exquisite. The case itself is kind of like a submarine shape, very popular style of shape of the case. The hands are skeletonized. It looks like something that's going down, you know, on an odyssey under the water or something like that. But in any case, it's a self-winding mechanical movement, no battery in the watch at all. And hey, this is the first time it's ever been seen to the public, was right here today on WSS, one of 4 brand new pieces that are debuting this weekend. And we had a good response this morning on this as well. And like you predicted, Tim, the brown definitely was the biggest seller this morning.
Well, you know, I did predict it, but it's not like I'm a great all-knowing seer here. I mean, I'll tell you why.
Karnak, the magnificent.
No, hardly. What's so obvious about this to me is if you look at the trend in very high-end watches, I'm talking really high-end. Patek Philippe, certainly one of the leaders. Jean Marcel, Gevril. And here's what I mean by that. These guys, and they're not alone in this, believe me, there's other very high-end pieces doing this as well, have championed where you are looking at an increasing trend in a very elegant, what is known in the industry as tobacco brown. Now, this means you get a rich, warm, reddish brown. Perhaps you want to refer to it as a mahogany. That's what this particular brown dial does. Now, I have seen some dials come out and they've sort of attempted this, but they end up looking more like a chocolate dial. And that's fine and all that. But this has that regal, reddish warmth added to the brown. And it is, in a word, beautiful. So I will tell you, since we officially premiered this a few hours ago, that the brown has proven to be by far the runaway hit. Now, that's not to say that the others aren't beautiful, and frankly, if you want what I think is probably going to be the most elegant, I know Larry, you pointed this out as well, the black dial. Certainly somebody wanted to put this with a tux or more elegant suit, no question about it. But if you want to look, well, or I would also point out, if you want to look at a nod to the whole Breguet blue markers, blue hands thing, then obviously the silver dial is where you want to be. But check this out. Mary's wearing, in this instance, the black one. You'll notice, while the case is large, it is not colossal. This takes an 18-millimeter strap, so you're not talking about an oversized strap. And no matter who wears this, a man or a woman, it looks very cool. And, of course, one of the obvious eye-catching events is that we're back to this whole thing where you've taken a movement that is not skeletonized, decorated it, and placed it in a skeletonized case.
Absolutely. And, you know, we were talking about time machines. This looks like a time machine. It really does. And as you can see it right here on Mary's hand, it doesn't look overpowering on a lady either. I mean, it's a dressy yet technical timepiece. That's a big domed Cristerna crystal on top. That's expensive. Solid 316L surgical stainless steel, skeletonized hands. You can see the balance wheel right through that opening there near the between the 8 and the 9 right there, beating back and forth. 21,600 vibrations per hour on this piece. No battery in this watch. Decorated movement on the backside as well through the exhibition case back, 18-millimeter strap. You're getting a lot for your money. And again, this is another one of those pieces that was, you know, priced for your celebration here, for your anniversary. And, you know, we've been carrying on this celebration for a month now. So,
yeah, you guys kicked it off about a month ago, and basically are bringing that to a conclusion with this particular event. And I think that's very apropos. You guys are one of the earliest brands that came on as a partner, and you certainly are one of the more well-known brands via the medium of television, and it's a true pleasure to have you guys here.
Yeah, and it's a true pleasure to be here, and with you, Tim, of course, and your following, and everybody out there. We've received so many comments here, but looking at this piece on your wrist, Tim, again, you can see it's not overpowering whatsoever, and you know, a piece like this, I could have seen this piece in a really large case, and I think it would have been great, but having it in this case, it makes it dressy. It really does. You can wear it with a suit. You can wear it, again, with jeans and a T-shirt. I see it as just a great conversation piece, whether a guy wears it or a lady wears it. Really. I mean, I hope we do more with this case, because this is a very popular style of case right now.
I'm going to put a last call on this because there's still much to go, including, by the way, the Emperor, which we'll be getting to before the top of the hour, also the Adamas coming up here. And if we have time, I'll get to one of the great all-time regulators. Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead, because I know people apparently are requesting the Emperor. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll get to a couple of the other terrific pieces that Stuhrling has brought us before we conclude our show here at the top. Here's the Emperor. Now, if you've even casually caught our show Lines of Time over the last month or so, you've probably heard me babbling ad nauseum about this watch. I think this is very, very cool. And I have to say, it's very gratifying to see the feedback from those who bought it during the pre-release party about a week and a half ago, I'd have to say it's 100% positive. People are absolutely loving this watch. I only found out a few hours ago, and I don't have their permission to use it, but I'll just make a reference to it, that one of, and it's not a competitor of WSS. This is actually a website of a competing watch brand. It's nothing whatsoever to do with us. That actually just posted a favorable review of the Stuhrling Emperor, which I thought was really, really cool. And obviously one of their guys was privy to the pre-release party that we did, but that's not the point. The point is that you're getting these rave reviews both from industry people, from collectors, and certainly from our group of collectors and consumers that shop with WSS. It's been a huge hit. I foresee this actually becoming sort of an institution with Stuhrling. I can't imagine you guys are going to be satisfied with just one head and never do this again. So all right, so let's get to it. Here's a $1,300 watch. I still have all 4 of the examples, and let me go over that very quickly. You can either get it with or without rose gold, and it's always 316L steel, so you can choose I want it with gold or without, and you can get a lighter dial or a darker dial. They will all have the outer track mother of pearl. They will all have the double time zone. They all have the open heart complication, exhibition back, and they're all very, very cool. Anyway, from $1,300, they're at $399. And already, I think, well, we know it's a sales record. It's becoming an institution in a matter of 24 hours or less, really, since the world premiere. It's under 16095. Now, you mentioned previously that you guys weren't at all surprised when you saw the even in the advance sales, that the overwhelming response to this design.
No, I'm not surprised at all. The minute I saw this piece, when the first samples came in from the factory a few months ago, all of us at the offices just went, wow. I mean, when you see it, you go, wow, that's a hit. I mean, you can't always predict. Sometimes you think that's a hit and it's not. Sometimes you're not sure and it is and you don't know. This piece, you know, you just look at it and you go, I've never seen anything like it. This is a smash. Anybody who sees it, and of course, when you started showing it on the air, Tim, you know, nobody shows watches in the television shopping business the way that your crew does here at WSS. I mean, look at this shot right here, coming in on the balance wheel, beating back and forth. I mean, you guys do such a great job, and you guys showed this on the air. You started, you know, sneaking it, peeking it, and all that stuff, and you pushed for it, and you started showing it, and then certainly it's not a surprise that people responded to it.
Well, I think that one of the reasons that we're seeing the huge response, that obviously we already have, in fact, it's kind of a unique position to have a world premiere weekend, as we obviously are, but already because of the pre-release party, we've got many, many people that are already wearing this. This is why we know what the accolades are going to be, because we've done it, and it's just kind of neat to be in that position. I've never been there. I've done a lot of world premieres, but I've never actually had it where we had a select group of customers or clients that could acquire it in advance. So we know that the accolades are there. We know this is going to be supported, and we know that the design works. And I know that also from personal experience, because as you're aware, I've worn one for about a month.
Right.
I can tell you that I've been stopped anywhere from buying exercise gear to restaurants to being just around in a mall or going to wherever, and people, and it's not because I'm on TV, people most of the time don't even know who I am. They just want to stop and they go, that's a really cool watch. Where did you get it, or how much is it? Which I've also is kind of an interesting question to ask a stranger, but I get that not uncommonly with this watch. Is how much is that? And actually, one of my favorite little stories is as recently as yesterday. I was actually in a very upscale jewelry store just passing some time. They happen to have carried many fine watches, not the least of which was Rolex. And there must have been 3 or 4 watch guys in there that I had to end up passing this thing around, and it's pretty cool. And they all thought, by the way, this was way more than $399.
It wears like a $20,000 piece on your wrist. I mean, if there's one watch in our entire history that would maybe fit the description of an heirloom piece, I mean, this really looks like an heirloom. It really does. You can pass this down from generation to generation. This is a piece that it just looks so expensive and so rich. It is a dual time zone, as you can see. You've got the subdial over there at 3 o'clock, which gives you a secondary time zone, which is kind of nice. The mother of pearl, just a great touch. The case is what makes it so unique. It's kind of a large case. It's 41 millimeters, as you've already pointed out, but it's pretty thick. It sits atop your wrist. The crown and bow at 12 o'clock is just so unique, so rich. The engineering required for that hinged bow is just, it really gave us fits, quite frankly, but we got it right. You can see it hinges beautifully back and forth now. I mean, it was a real challenge for us. everything about it is just engineered beautifully. The mother of pearl, great touch. The black mother of pearl really pops. They all pop. Grade A mother of pearl. Beautiful open heart exhibition. We were showing the Adamas a little bit earlier, which was another open heart. Our open hearts always play very, very well, but I think this one is just the way it's done with those blued screws, you know, top and bottom like that. It just plays beautifully, and you know, you're going to love this piece. And I would say this, guys, if you're even thinking about it, you might even want to get a couple of them. I mean, if you have, you know, get one for yourself and get one as a gift. I mean, they're not going to last forever. We didn't make that many of them. You know, we're in the range of about 800 pieces total for all 4 executions, and that's not that many.
Now, do you find because this was so difficult to build that this might be a one and only, or do you foresee this maybe because you clearly have a hit? I mean,
well,
it's no longer theoretical. We
you know
people love this.
I'll give you just a little bit of inside info, but you know, don't hold it against me if it doesn't happen. I mean, we're working right now trying to make a similar piece like this for the ladies, but we're having difficulties right now. We don't have the samples yet because we're doing it in a smaller case. And we're trying to do it for the ladies. And if we come out with it at all, I would say fourth quarter this year, we'd be doing good.
So Christmas, Hanukkah,
yeah,
if all goes well.
If all goes well, maybe we'll have it by, like I say, September, October of this year, if we're able to do it. But right now we're encountering a lot of trouble. And I have seen it already a number of times where we encounter so much trouble with a particular piece where we just say, scrap it, and we don't do it. So don't hold it against me if it doesn't happen, but we're trying to do a ladies version on this piece, and I don't know if this is something that we want to go through again. I mean, this piece took 16 months, which is unusually long for us to bring a piece to air. We're normally 6 to 8 months from conception to airtime, and you know, 10 months is a long time. This one took 16 months to get it on the air. Now you'd think, well, now that you've done it, you know what you're doing. But again, it's not that simple. There were so many different obstacles to overcome, and you're getting just so much for the money. And, you know, frankly, it should have been a lot more than this. And after we're done with the WSS debut here, we've committed some to another reseller, and I can't say who it is, but if anybody happens to see it out there, they're going to be shocked because it's going to be selling for more like $700 to $800. It's not going to be $399.
No,
so
that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants this would be the place to buy it immediately.
Correct. Because once we're done with our commitment here, and whether we've already shipped you a second shipment already, once we're done with our commitment here, that's going to be the end of it at WSS. So you really got in. You know, and a lot of it was you, Tim. I mean, come on, you pushed for this piece. You know you pushed for this piece.
Well, I did push for it, but and I pushed for it when you actually showed me one of the prototypes, and I said, you've got to bring this in. And
remember
frankly,
back in December when I brought like 50 samples?
I said I wanted to do the first anniversary. We were already thinking about planning the event. I said, you've got to bring this in for that, if at all possible. And I know that Mr. Fisher really stepped up and helped from the overseas standpoint and so on to put all this together for us. And don't think that we're ungrateful to that. I mean, there's a huge amount of effort that went in to make this even possible. But I did not know that this is already going to be retailing as high as $1,700 from other sources. That's just kind of good consumer information to be aware of.
You know, at this point, we really don't have that many to go around. You know, we don't have that many left now already because of what you've been able to promote.
Well, we know that the rose gold, actually, from just the pre-release alone, the rose gold and the black dial's already sold out once. And by the way, guys, and this won't come as a too big a shock, I think, the rose gold examples, while they are in stock, are definitely outselling the white metal. If anybody cares, I happen to think the white 316 steel with the white dial is probably where I'll end up in mine. But it's there's not a bad choice. They're all so cool. All right, let's do a couple minutes on this next piece, because we're going to move through a series of watches here, and I want to get to the Time Master and also, if possible, the Adama, so you guys can really get a brilliant cross-section of what Stuhrling is able to deliver. Let's look at an Anadigi here for just a couple of minutes. First of all, I got to talk to producer Chris. Do we have black? Because if we do, there can't be more than a handful, and it won't last more than this particular airing. I know we have a handful left of the blue, and I know we have a handful left of the pink, and I think we've even got a couple of the white. But black has had, I'll put it this way, if you guys at home, you want to start calling right now, if there are any of the black, just put the okay, never mind, they're already sold out. Okay, I was going to say, just put the sandwich down and just call, because there can't be more than 8 or 10 of them, and they will go in the sandwich, but they're already gone. All right, so now we're talking about the white, or you can get the light blue or the pink. Now, I realize we've only got a minute here, but what is so cool to me about this is, first of all, it's a very expensive movement. Most people don't appreciate how expensive this thing actually was. It lists for $1,200. It's out at $229. And this is going to get even better. First of all, the discount is huge, and with interest-free payments, you can literally check this out for what, about $77, $8.99 to FedEx. You guys will have this by midweek. But let's talk about what the watch does. It's a true ladies' watch. You're getting a genuine Stingray strap, which, by the way, I believe is a 16 millimeter. In fact, I know it is. So if you want to mess around with 16 millimeter exotics, you certainly can. Then you've got a really cool exotic already included with the Stingray. But this is also a perpetual calendar. All right, so what does that mean? It means that once you set this up, you have to put in day, date, year, and all that. You put that in once. You don't have to touch this again to the year 2099. It accounts for every leap year, long month, short month, everything. It's one of the, for those of you who don't know this, perpetual calendar is one of the most single expensive complications you can buy in a mechanical automatic watch. Most perpetual calendars are going to be north of $60,000, $80,000. Now again, this is not a mechanical automatic, this is a quartz, but still, it's pretty remarkable. Most quartz engines don't even attempt that. This has it. It also has a chronograph. It also has a countdown timer. It tracks 3 different time zones. You can even turn on the digital display on or off. If you want the screen just blank, you can do that. This thing is loaded, so never let it be said that Stuhrling did not deliver a very, very cool complication watch with the ladies exclusively in mind. By the way, very cool mother of pearl outer track, and lest I forget, sapphire crystal, because this watch went into production roughly a couple of years ago, and that's right on the cusp where Stuhrling, especially if they were over $1,000, was still installing sapphire as standard equipment, and this has that. So if you want one of them, and I've got to move on here to provide room for a couple of more watches, but if you want one of these, black is gone. I've got it in white, and these are all genuine Stingray. White, light blue, or pink. True lady size watch from $1,200 to $229, and with interest-free payments, you can check it out for $77. It's $2936. That's your item number, $2936. By the way, you can reach WSS anytime, day or night. 1-888-449-7788. 1-888-449-7788. All right, let's go ahead and move to, we'll do 3 minutes on this one. You know, I've talked on the air on occasion that recently I ordered 3 Stuhrling watches for myself, and I bought actually 3 between Christmas and New Year's because nobody was buying me a watch for New Year's, so I bought one for me. Actually 3, and this is one of the 3. Now, I bought this for several reasons. First of all, I happen to think it's incredibly cool, and also, I, at the time, did not have a regulator in my collection, which frankly was sort of to my detriment. For all the cool stuff I had, I'd never gotten a regulator, and this thing's priced to move. It's a $1,300 piece. You can get it for $399. Big 44 millimeter look, but of course it goes far beyond that. I know, Larry, you've talked about this quite a bit, but I love this. We're just a regulator, but you guys loaded this with many additional complications on top of that.
Yeah, it's a regulator combined with a master calendar and a separate GMT hand. I mean, it is the time master. It's a masterpiece made for eternity. And one of the nice things about this particular regulator, as you can see, you have the big, large, skeletonized minute hand right in the middle there. Typically when most regulators, not all, but when most regulators are 12 o'clock straight up, that is the only 2 minutes per day when the minute hand will obscure the hour hand. In most cases, the way they position the hour dial at the top. In this instance, the minute hand will never obscure the hour hand because it is so large and so skeletonized that when it's 12 o'clock straight up, you can actually see the hour hand right through the minute hand. So it never obscures it, and that's why maybe they call it a doctor's watch or what have you. But we put everything into this, and if you had this particular, all these complications with a quartz-operated timepiece, it would be an absolute bargain at $399. The fact that it is a mechanical self-winding movement with no battery whatsoever, master calendar combined with a regulator at this price is unbelievable, and it has been a monster smash for us. Large 44 millimeter case, as you can see right here, big coin edge bezel, big bulbous onion-style crown. You've got recessed pushers on the side to control all the functions. Mary is showing you now the one with the blued markers and hands. And you can see the day of the week subdial is over there at the traditional 3 o'clock position. And right now, this one looks like it's pointing to Thursday. So it looks like it's actually not set, but that's okay. Tim's showing you the one with the rose gold markers and hands right now. But as we come in on it, you'll see that the The day is over at the traditional 3 o'clock position, and the month is down there at the traditional 6 o'clock position. It's pointing to March. You see it says February and then April, and it's pointing to the hand right in between. And the date is in that little circular date aperture down there around the 8 o'clock position, the quick set date that's showing the 19. And then the subdial over there at the traditional 9 o'clock position, that is your separate GMT hand. And right now, the large hand is pointing to the outer track between 18 and 19. So this watch would actually read, as you see the hour hand up there. Well, it doesn't really matter what it reads anyway. I think they get the idea, Tim. But it is what it is. It's the Time Master. It's a masterpiece made for eternity, and you will absolutely love that timepiece.
By the way, guys, 22 millimeter straps. So if, like myself, you collect exotics, they plug right in. And this one works on almost anything. Works on alligator. I think I have a crocodile on mine, and ostrich. And many of you will love this just in the padded leather strap with which it ships. Black is sold out. I do have fewer than 20 left in the rose, which happens to be this example. So 2923. Over $1,300, as you can see, it's at $399 interest-free payments. Guys, check this out for what? $133, $899 to FedEx. You'll have it by mid-week. When you order your watches via WSS or jewelry for that matter, you're no longer waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to get your product. We'll get it to you in 2 to 3 working days. Now, I've got time to show you guys one more watch. We're going to finish up with the Adamas, and this is one that I enjoy bringing out just because it answers a question that I think a lot of people understandably would have. If you look at a watch that is collected like Stuhrling is, and I'm talking about guys that don't own 1 or 2, that literally will own 6, 8, 10 of them, and I guess I should know I'm one of them. This is answering the question, what is the most popular watch that you guys ever built?
And this is it, the Adamas, and which means uncommon.
Oh, by the way, silver sold out in the preview, I should interject.
Okay, so all we have left is the black dial.
Exactly.
You know, one of the interesting things about this timepiece, Tim, you know, the black dial is exquisite, but one of the things that really adds maybe a little extra value to this particular execution is we made this piece in, I think, 5 or 6 different executions. And we talked about it earlier. We made over 10,000 of them, and it's got the open heart down there. It is a regulator. But the executions that really we remade for marketing purposes of the reseller that we did a lot of business with were the rose gold. And the ones in the rose gold had, on the second round, the second generation, had a different crown. It had a cabochon in the crown, and we had to change it for legal reasons, to be honest with you. But my point in saying that and bringing that up is the fact that this one is from the original. With I can tell from the crown, okay? Mm-hmm. This crown, this particular execution that we're looking, this is from the original run, production run, from the very first run of the Stuhrling 63C Adamas. That's our case in style number 63C. So, you know, for collectability reasons, I mean, this execution that you're seeing, this is the end of it. This is the end of the original production run, and even though it's the black dial, I mean, that adds, as you know, Tim, it does add to the collectability. Yeah,
absolutely. I love getting first production run products, and it's. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have never known that about this particular piece. So you can tell because of this exact crown.
Right, exactly. The second, let's say, or the last 9,000 pieces that we made on this particular has like a lot of our crowns you see with the cabochon in it has that type of a crown. This one is from the original production run on both of these executions here that we held back, and we were able to bring them here to WSS. So you're actually getting a real collector's piece here with this one, no matter which dial or which execution you get. So take advantage of it. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece.
Now, we've got at this point less than 60 seconds remaining, so obviously I've got to basically get about bringing the show to a close. I want to thank my guest tonight, Larry Magen, president of Stuhrling, and again, congratulations to the many, many of you across the United States that took advantage of our special opportunities, be it on the classic products or the new products. Also, a reminder that there will be shows throughout the day, meaning Monday, and also Tuesday morning. The Monday night show will be at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 Central, and the Tuesday morning show will be at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central. This piece, again, a mechanical automatic, exhibition back, very cool regulator, open heart, and other neat little toys. Larry, as always, sir, it's a pleasure.
Hey,
thank you so much for being here.
Always a pleasure working with you, Tim, and thank you everybody out there. And keep enjoying your Stuhrling watches.
We must take a time out, but please stick around. We got lots more here from WSS, and it happens right after this.